Ladies and gentlemen, everyone like to stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to bring this Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017 Salary Board at 11 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room to order. Can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes?
I make a motion.
Let's have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opportunity for the public to address the board. Agenda items only. Okay. Motion 17-3022.
Do we want to take each one of these individually?
Do you want to? No, I don't think if they're all courts, we can.
Oh, I think they need to be explained. I mean, where they're coming from.
We'll take them individually. Okay. 17-3022, motion to increase the salary of Secretary for Judge Corbett from $40,573 to $42,573. It's not the Judge Corbett Secretary for Judge Corbett. I apologize. Frank Castellano is the court administrator. He's here to explain it, and Judge Barres is on standby on the phone if we need him.
I have to. Well, we would need him for a voting member for the court issues.
Did we dial it in yet, Frank?
I'm going to dial it in.
I would appreciate that if we do that right now. Yes. Yes, please. He knows we're calling what it's about, Frank.
Tom Durkin's here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we'd save some time.
He was opening the car slipped, and the guy inside shoots him 14 times. Is that crazy? Poor guy, my God.
The cops are being so...
14 times.
It's a disgrace what's going on with the police
Scary.
officers.
Judge?
Judge, this is the salary board. This is Fran.
Okay.
Judge
Hey,
Andy
Judge.
Wallace and Frank is here. We're about to start our meeting. We have the first motion made to increase the salary for Judge Corbett Secretary from $40,573 to $42,573. Your court administrator, Frank Castellano, is about to offer us a brief explanation. There's a series of these. You're probably going to be with us for about 10 minutes or less. There's 5 items, so I could ask if you could stay with us while Frank explains each one as we go through. We may have lost you.
Sure.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 motions. Pardon me? Judge, I don't know how much of what I said you heard, but we have 7 motions on our salary board that affect the courts. Frank Castellano, the court administrator, is here about to explain each one individually. At the conclusion of each motion, we'll be taking a vote on these by the members of the board. You'll be voting on behalf of the court, so you'll be with us for approximately 10 minutes. We're going to start right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Castellano, the first motion was to increase the salary of the secretary for Judge Corbett from $40,573 to $42,573. Mr. Castellano?
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Good morning, members of the board. The first motion this morning is based on information that I had provided to this board several months ago regarding the reason for the request of the increase, and that is twofold. One, to bring the salary of the secretary more in line with the salaries of other secretaries, particularly individuals who have been in service to the county and the court for the substantial period of time that this individual has been, plus the savings that we had shown through Judge Corbett's office in a number of ways, through our guardian ad litem program, and even farther back than that. A number of years ago, as you all know, Judge Corbett had released a position on her staff that was absorbed by the Family Court Administrator's Office at a much lower salary. So the county had realized a substantial savings over the years. We see this as a minimal increase, and again, the county has certainly saved many times over. So for those reasons, as I had stated to this board previously, I respectfully request that motion number 1 pass.
Okay. Okay, could I have a motion to increase the salary of Secretary for Judge Corbett from $40,573 to $42,573? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second
On the question,
on the question?
what is your starting salaries for secretaries?
Commissioner, typically what happens is when a judge receives their money for the year, they divide that in a way that they feel is appropriate, based on the duties that the individual will be performing, based on the length of time the individual may have previously served the county or the courts in a different position. There is no specific starting salary for this type of position for the reasons that I just alluded to. But this individual who would receive this raise has been a long-term and very dedicated, extraordinary, quite honestly, employee for Lackawanna County and the court system. So that's specific to this particular position.
Right, but didn't we just give everybody across-the-board raises, and that include the secretary, or no?
Justin will address that. All the across-the-board raises the first of the year were what, Justin?
Across-the-board raises were,
Speaking
Can't
to the
hear
mic,
you.
the
please.
across-the-board raises were 2.5%.
So didn't this person already get a 2.5% increase this year, or no?
All county employees did.
All county employees did, but this is in addition to that, Commissioner, because we're trying to bring certain positions and certain people to a level, otherwise they would never catch up. I mean, if everybody gets the 2.5% and there's never an increase in that base, you never get to the point where we believe we should be.
So all the other judges are going to be brought up to the same level, basically, as of the
If
finish
these
of this
motions
that I go through.
pass, we believe that this provides a more equitable distribution, as I had, explained to this
spoke at
board
the-
numerous
the
times.
work session.
Right, correct,
Okay.
yes.
Right, but I know, but that last time we didn't approve it because the money, Tom, wasn't the money that they were saving coming from someplace that they already used? Wasn't there some type of 80,000 somewhere in this event?
I researched this position actually a couple times, as Frank said. He brought this to the board a number of times. And first of all, this brings equity among all judges. At one point in time, all of the judges' offices had been allocated the same amount of salary for their staff. And over the years, for a number of reasons, that got out of whack. Judge Corbett's staff was paid, and I don't know the total number, about $4,500 in total, less than the other judges. Judge Gibbons, something similar happened, and his staff was paid less. But to answer your specific question, there was a guardian ad litem position.
Yeah, the
that was
80,000.
budgeted for $80,000 in the court's budget that hasn't been filled and won't be filled this year. So the money to pay for all of these first 4 or 5 increases will be paid for by the courts out of that position.
So that other expenditures that were used for that guardian ad litem aren't being used for that now? We're going to use this instead? 'Cause didn't we use-
had a guardian ad litem, we had budgeted for 2, and the second position hasn't been filled, so that money is available to be spent elsewhere without going over budget.
But didn't we use that 80,000 at our last meeting?
We used some portion of the 80,000 to, and I'd have to go back and look at the minutes, I don't remember exactly what it was used for, but there is still money left in the $80,000 position to to pay for these positions.
So then this would be the final time that that can be used ever as an issue for savings in regards to the salary board and talking about the guardian ad litem money that was saved. It will no longer be available after this meeting?
Well, I didn't go and account for every dollar of the $80,000. When I looked at it, I said there was enough room in the $80,000. But I don't believe there will be any further adjustments to the courts. This, again, as Frank said, the courts have come to the commissioners, I think, 3 times with this same request, and now the commissioners are acting on it. And to my knowledge, the court will not have any more requests of this nature between now and the end of the year. So, to answer your question, to my knowledge, there will be no more spent out of this $80,000 after this salary board.
Frank, there will be no need to hire the attorney ad litem?
No, Commissioner. The court revamped the program, which allowed for a substantial savings and a very good level of productivity and service to our customers.
Okay.
And that includes all these salaries, or is that just for this one?
That includes the first 5 motions on the agenda.
First 5 motions?
3 position in Judge Corbett's office and 2 in Judge Gibbons' office.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. 17-3023. You're what?
Call the roll
No.
individually, please, Ms.
All ayes and no.
So she's going to call the roll.
Commissioner Niteriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
No.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Judge Barres?
Judge Barres?
Yes. Yes.
Trolley DeBillio?
Yes.
The vote is 4-1, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
17-3023.
This is a motion to increase the salary of a law clerk in Judge Corbett's office from $36,465 to $37,940. And again, Court Administrator Frank Castellano is here to offer an explanation on behalf of the court for this action.
Yes. The explanation from the financial aspect is exactly the same as we just went through in terms of the first motion. The reason for it is, again, this particular individual is a rather long-serving clerk for Judge Corbett. Judge Corbett wishes to reward that person based on that person's extraordinary service and length of time. And again, there is no financial impact, a negative impact in any way to the county. So again, for all the reasons that I stated in the first motion, I respectfully request that motion to pass as well.
Okay, do I have a motion? Or does anybody have questions?
They got a 2.5% raise as well this year, correct?
They would have, Commissioner, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, no, we don't have to do roll call. We did that just for that. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No.
No? Okay. 17-3024.
This is a motion to increase the salary of a part-time tip staff in the office of Judge Corbett from $24,243 to $25,243. Mr. Castellano on the question.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the financial reasons are exactly the same. Same pool of money from Judge Corbett's budget. And again, just to provide a very slight increase to this individual who has been working on the judge's staff for a number of years and has been doing a very good job. So we're simply asking for a slight increase for this individual. And again, no negative financial impact to the budget whatsoever.
Okay, does the board have any questions for Mr. Castellano?
This person had already received a 2.5% increase as well?
They would have,
this year?
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
No.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. 17-3025.
This is a motion to increase the salary for a secretary in Judge Gibbons' office from $40,573 to $43,673. Mr. Castellano, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, This motion, the purpose of this motion is to provide equity in the budget of Judge James Gibbons of the Court of Common Pleas. As you heard Mr. Durkin state a few minutes ago, that over a period of time, there were several budgets, Judge Corbett's budget, Judge Gibbons' budget, that did not remain near or at the same level as our other common pleas judges, and we've asked for this increase to get Judge Gibbons's pool of money to the level where we believe it should be. Once again, there is no negative financial impact on the budget whatsoever for all the reasons that I've discussed in the past and that Mr. Durkin once again discussed this morning.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Castellano?
Same as previous, this person received a 2.5% increase in the beginning of the year?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
No.
Aye.
Thank you.
17-3026.
This is increasing a law clerk tip staff for Judge Gibbons from $36,465 to $38,059. Mr. Castellano?
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, again, the financial reasons remain the same, to attempt to bring the budget and the individuals on par with others. Once again, I'm repeating myself, no negative financial impact on the county budget for all the reasons previously explained.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
Same question as previous. They had received a 2.5% increase this year already?
I believe that to be true, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second. I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Aye.
Thank you.
17-3027.
This is switching now to increase the salary for two senior law clerks for Judge Julia Munley from $41,000 to $42,500. I believe it's Julia Munley. It says
This
J,
is Judge
J,
Julia.
It says J.
yeah.
Munley.
Because it says Judge J. Munley, that means Judge Julia Munley. Right.
Okay.
Judge Julia Munley.
Thank you.
Right.
Judge Julia Munley. Mr. Castellano?
Ladies and gentlemen, as was provided in the memo that I had sent to all of you and as I discussed in our work session, I believe it was last week, this is a request for a redistribution, actually. What Judge Julia Munley has asked that I present to you is there is a vacancy on her staff at the moment, and it will be a fourth position that she intends to fill in the very near future. Right now, in terms of the budget, that vacancy is budgeted at a designation of $31,050. The judge wishes to reduce that starting salary of the new staff member to $27,000 and divide the remaining funds among the other staff members. So therefore, this is the redistribution of those funds. So again, no negative financial impact to the county whatsoever, and we believe that...
This one is just the two senior law clerks that we're talking about right
Correct,
now, correct,
correct,
Frank? And
yes.
we're getting on to the explanation in the last one. When we
Correct.
get to 17-3-028, correct?
Correct.
Thank
That's
you.
correct. These are the two senior
So the
law
record
clerks.
reflects correctly.
Yeah, I think we're just doing 3027.
That is correct. I just want
Yes,
to make
Mr.
certain.
Wallace, yes.
I know your explanation is
It's in
explaining
total.
both, but I would rather
Very
just
good.
do it individually if okay.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner requested that.
Thank you. So that's my explanation. It's a redistribution.
So this is the same money that you're utilizing, the savings from, so you had a vacancy where they were paying $31,500 and she's going to lower that vacancy amount to,
That vacancy was never filled, Commissioner. As you know, Judge Julia Munley was sworn in actually 1 year ago today, August 2nd of 2016, ironically.
Okay.
At that point in time, she had the ability to bring on 4 staff members. She brought on 3. She intends on bringing her 4th staff member on, I would say, within the next couple of weeks. But again, this is simply a redistribution of her pool of money based on how she wishes to divide it. So the good news is that we have saved, for the past 12 months, we have not been paying a fourth staff member. So, I mean, there's a real financial savings there. But again, this request is not asking for an increase in money. This request is asking for a redistribution of the pool of money that was given to Judge Julia Munley in the 2017 budget.
Okay. But did you not just say that she was going to decrease the salary of that fourth?
Correct, to equate what we're asking for in the increase.
Of both
See,
these
in all the
requests.
other resolutions, I was asking for increases. In this resolution, I'm asking for increases with the understanding that there would be a decrease. So it's a redistribution
Right.
of the pot of money.
So what did she decrease it to? I didn't hear that part.
It would be, well, it would go from $31,050 to $27,000, and then you take the balance of that, and that's how we came up with the redistribution.
Thank you very much for explaining that. That was very good work on her part. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a second?
I made the motion.
Gary, second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
17-3, I'm
yep,
sorry.
17-3027, or excuse me, 17-3028.
This is a motion to increase the salary of Secretary for Judge Julia Munley from $40,488 to $41,538. Mr. Castellano?
Thank you, Mr.
Your
Wallace.
last chance today.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the exact same explanation as the previous motion. Same reason, same numbers, same budget. So I respectfully request that based on that, this is passed.
Okay. Okay, no, any questions?
No, it's the same explanation. She did redistribute funding so she can give this increase
Correct.
by saving money under other salaries, so I appreciate that work.
Correct.
And I would make that motion.
Okay, can I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. District Attorney's Office.
Thank you, Judge Perez.
Could you give
Thanks, Judge.
my appreciation to Judge Munley for doing that work? Thank you.
District Attorney's Office, 17-3029.
This is a motion to increase the salary of Special County Detective from $41,200 to $42,200 effective July 1st, 2017, due to the PSP Auto Theft Force Grant, and District Attorney Shane Scanlon is here to explain the reason behind this.
Thank you. This is
Morning.
a raise that was budgeted in the grant from the Auto Theft Task Force. It is an increase of $1,000. As Mr. Wallace said, it would be effective July 1st of this year. This raise is budgeted in the grant. It was approved, and it's at no cost to our county.
Okay, does the board have any questions for our District Attorney?
What is an auto theft force grant?
It's a task force. He actually covers more than just our county in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police
So,
in enforcing auto thefts and the investigation and recovery of stolen cars.
he's run out of your office then, Shane?
Correct.
And what was it, just $1,000 more in the grant that was provided?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion? Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 17-3032.
This is a motion to do an official change of title from a clerk to an administrative secretary in the district attorney's office, and our district attorney, Shane Scanlon, is here to offer an explanation.
We have a number of employees over at our office that do more than just secretarial work. What we're trying to do is match their titles up with their duties and make it more uniform. So we would be switching, for instance, Michelle Graham from clerk to administrative secretary, Kelly Moran from secretary to administrative secretary, Mary Beth Heinlein would follow the same, Fran Francis would follow the same. No increases in pay. It's really just to make sure that they're more uniform, and it explains for more of their duties that they do on a daily basis.
Just for the record, we have an agreement from the union on this, so
No increase.
Well,
there would be no increase.
There'd be no increase.
Their salaries are already higher than.
It's just a
than the
retitling.
title.
well, I do have, you have a new hire for current secretary vacancy,
That's
So-
the next motion, correct?
but that's affecting this 32,125. What are these salaries at now for all of these people?
Uh, 33,000, 33,000. If you can give me 1 second, Commissioner.
Sorry, take your time.
36,436. There's one more.
And that reflects that some of these people have had some time here in the county and have gotten raises over the years.
And a $42,030 salary.
Okay. And the secretaries are currently hired at what amount?
A secretary?
Yeah.
In my office?
Yeah.
Or,
Well, that's
through
what
the-
we're talking about, right? Yeah.
For the SEIU, secretaries' starting salaries are $20,000.
20,000.
Administrative secretaries are hired at $32,125.
Mr. District Attorney, if I may provide some background here.
Please.
Prior to the last contract, the county did not have starting salaries, so some of these employees were hired right around the $30,000 range. So now that we have a vacancy that's in need to be filled, a much-needed priority over there, if we were to hire a secretary at that lower amount, they would then probably have the right to file a grievance and end up in arbitration, maybe litigation down the road that would cost probably tens of thousands of dollars. So
Why?
because they would be able to probably argue that the people in their office who they do the comparable amount of work or same work would, they would basically argue that they're entitled to that higher salary.
Not if they
So-
weren't there for, as long as these people are there for years. That's why they're at that rate.
Well, the longevity, or not technically longevity, but the years they were there, the raises really wouldn't differentiate from how they started at around 30,000. So you're looking at some people that are at 33,000. Maybe they started at 30,000 3 years ago. So, those yearly raises don't really add up. I mean, we're talking a big difference. If we were to have a secretary come in who's doing the same amount of duties as these other people in the office, there would be a major issue there. And I think that we would get, beaten up in the grievance and arbitration process. And again, it would cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, I disagree with that, but I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but, Mr. Durkin, if, we're looking at increasing the salary, the starting salary, from $20,000 to $32,100. So we're increasing the starting salary by $12,000.
In theory, we are, but we're not actually, because the vacancy that was left was at about approximately $28,000. So that's the
Well,
position that we're
that's
actually
what people
filling.
in this building don't understand. Once there's a vacancy and somebody leaves, it doesn't mean that the salary of that person that left at was where we're going to pay somebody. That's where this book comes into play, and you go back to the $20,000 that it actually is for a starting salary.
So starting salary was 28,000?
No, it was 20.
20?
According to this book from the union, yeah, it's,
Commissioner, I think the district attorney was speaking more in terms of his budget. And
I understand.
the impact of maybe 4,000, but I understand where you're coming from with starting salaries, and we've been pretty diligent with that. However, the problem is going back to before the last contract, where we didn't have starting salaries, and that's kind of put us in the position where we're at now. And again, I think it's the prudent thing to do, and it's going to save taxpayers probably tens of thousands of dollars.
well, I understand what you're saying, but I did discuss that with you as well, and we did have this, I got this book off of Brian last year, so the starting salaries were in place before the contract at $32,125 for administrative secretary. So that is not correct. The other issue is that the starting salary for a secretarial position is $20,000. So are you going to remove your secretary position then in lieu of this increase? Because that's a $12,000 increase.
No, we're
First-
we're changing the title from secretary to administrative secretary. I'm actually, our office is under a real crunch right now. We have a number of our staff members, support staff members out on FMLA. We have a young lady who's going to be leaving. She's due within the next couple days to have a baby. I have a girl out who's sick. We're extremely short-staffed at this point. That's why we're trying to bring in someone that has experience in the legal field and can fit in and really hit the ground running.
Well, you're calling them administrative secretaries. Would you be better off hiring a paralegal or something? Like, what exactly is where's their job description to give this increase merit and the name change merit? Do we have a job description to go along with that?
I don't have that in front of me. I can get it to you, but I think the district attorney and even myself in dealing with that office can argue that, they have a much higher level of responsibility than just answering
That's fine
phone
if they
calls
do. I mean,
and
I'm just looking
typing
for the
in.
proof.
These administrative secretaries, if they were to receive this title, if they make a mistake, someone may go to jail. So I would argue on their behalf that they have a very high level of resresponsibility.
You can't
So-
hire a more experienced person and pay them a greater salary because of the current union situation with the salary restrictions. So in order
There's
to
no
have that
restrictions.
employee, you have to change the title.
That's correct,
If I
Commissioner.
may, the idea here is to reclass the secretaries or people who were called secretaries to administrative secretaries because there is a higher level of service that's demanded from these people.
Exactly.
Except for the vacancy that the district attorney referred to that is in the seniority listing at $27,000. There is no impact on anybody else's salary because they're already making more than and I'm not sure, the 32.
Correct.
Whatever it is, 32,235.
I understand that.
But the one.
That's why I asked what they were.
Would be, Commissioner, the one change, financial change, would be to move that 27 to the 32. whatever the starting
125.
rate is, right.
You have that in your
Exactly.
budget.
That's correct, Commissioner, I do.
So it's your budget.
Additional monies that we have to find.
I'm not asking for any additional monies.
And that was my point when I started talking, that the DA has assured us that that's covered by additional salaries that aren't being spent because of his FMLA issue.
Okay, so what salaries would that be, so I can account for that in my records?
Sure, I actually have an open attorney's position that has been vacant for over a year. I have an attorney out on leave that's been out on leave since March. So there's that money that's also not being paid. So we're really looking at a very small portion out of my budget.
So the attorney that's out on leave, is that FMLA?
No,
Any of them FMLA that we're paying them?
not that I'm speaking of right now, no.
Not that you're speaking of, because these are just an open position, and they're in your records here?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get that off you later.
Sure.
But it still doesn't tell me, like, this budget, yeah, I understand what Tom is saying about the fact that you're saying it's in your budget, but how could it be when your salary was $27,000 and this is $5,000 more? Did you account for a $5,000 expenditure, or are you saying these open positions are going to take care of that
I'm saying that-
$5,000 increase? And when will be the break-even point be that it will no longer do that?
Well, coming into next year's budget, I would have to make adjustments, but based upon this year's budget and the positions that I have available, I far exceed
These
that
two open
$4,000.
positions will take care of the $5,000
Absolutely.
increase for this year. Do you have anybody in mind to hire for that position already?
I do.
Did you make promises as to a salary to that person?
No promises, no.
So they aren't aware of any of the salaries yet?
There's been discussions as to salaries, as to what they would be willing to come over at.
Okay, but you didn't discuss what it actually would be until our meeting?
There were no promises, no.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
No.
17-3033.
Motion to change the title of secretary to administrative secretary with a starting salary of $32,125. District Attorney Scanlon.
This is actually what we just discussed. But for the title changes in the previous one, this is that vacant position that we're looking to fill with an increase in title change.
You see this as a grievance situation?
I think that it's very troublesome, and you know, if we were to hire someone to come in at that secretary salary, they would have a very strong case to file a grievance and, again, go through that process, which would cost us tens of thousands of dollars. So this is the right thing to do. And
So you're recommending it, Mr. McGregor?
I recommend it, and also, again, on the record, we have worked with the union on this.
I can't
as
hear
well.
you.
Also, we've worked with the union on this as well, so they are in agreement.
They
to-
don't have a, just so everybody knows, there is no contract for this office yet, correct? Aren't we working on that still? We didn't get this through.
We are currently in negotiations with for a new contract.
So it isn't something that is a part of the union deal. That deal was never made. I mean, that's not even done yet.
We're held to the previous contract.
So then this wouldn't apply.
I would.
We're held to the past contract until a new contract is negotiated.
Correct. So that has no bearing on this discussion right now. As far as this discussion is concerned, what it looks like you're doing is giving a $5,000 raise from a secretary position to an administrative secretary, new titled position. So what I would request, and am requesting, is the job description of both the secretary and administrative secretary, and how is the union rectifying the fact that this is occurring, and you're saying that it could be possible litigation. So what are our solicitors saying in regards to the fact that it was actually there to begin with?
Well, I actually worked with Labor Council on this, and they strongly recommended this.
I'm sure they do. I'd like to get those job descriptions, and if they're that bad of a discrepancy in what their actual job title and job performance is, then that's a policy change that has to be done, and those job descriptions have to be fixed. It is on record that it has to be done, so I do expect to be done before that contract goes into place.
I understand, Commissioner, and
Thank
I will
you.
sit down with you.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
No.
Okay. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Human Services, 17-3030.
Motion to change the title of Social Work Training Specialist to a Program Specialist 1 to increase that salary from $53,037.08 to $55,688.93. And our Director of Lackawanna County Human Services, Bill Browning, is here to offer an explanation as to why he's recommending this.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. When we created our Department of Research and Development, we had asked for certifications for the various titles. They came back with a training specialist title when we attempted to fill the title based upon their certification. They said it was a wrong classification and certified it as a program specialist. That's the summary of a very long and painful discussion with civil service.
Does the board have any questions for Mr. Browning?
Who decided that this was an incorrect title?
Civil service, Pennsylvania State Civil Service.
Just out of the blue, huh?
I have theories on that, Commissioner, but they're just theories.
How long has it taken them to figure this was wrong?
A few months and a couple of classifications in between. The person they've sent the person in question to test in another position, and then when they got on the list for that test, they also said that was the wrong title, and it ultimately came to the title that I originally told Civil Service that I thought it was when we started the whole process about 6 months ago.
Wow, what a waste of a whole entire, all they had to do was listen to you in the beginning.
Yes.
I'm saying that, not you, okay? So they can yell at me, okay?
Okay, does the board have any other questions?
I'm not done, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, and their current salary, they're $53.37. Did they get an increase this year?
I believe they did. They probably got the same increase as the union members.
2.5?
I think it was 3.
It was 3% raise. And the reason for the increase is just because of a title change?
It's a class difference, yes.
It's a class difference, gotcha. But they're doing the same exact job that they were doing 1 minute before we changed this title, correct?
Correct.
And it just cannot wait until our next budget.
Looking
Has to be
forward to it,
done.
Commissioner.
Has to be done right this second? Not, it can't wait until next year?
No, because they won't participate in funding if we do that.
That's what I was trying to get at, the funding part, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
It would be best if somebody makes a motion other than Mr. Browning.
Okay,
I'll make
One of the members,
Okay.
please.
okay. Commissioner Notary made the motion. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks for the explanation.
Solicitor's Office.
17-3031, motion to create a full-time temporary 6-month position for the conflicts attorney at $10,607.50, and our solicitor, John Brazil, is here to offer an explanation at this time.
Yes, this was a matter we discussed in executive session. Over the last 3 or 4 months, I've been having discussions with the President Judge and Frank Castellano relative to the conflict counsel positions and some issues that have been occurring in there. As a result of those discussions, we employed a Robert Shields to act as a conflict counsel. Subsequent to the employing of Robert Shields, we had additional discussions with the President Judge, and the suggestion was made to continue the prior attorney there on a temporary basis at the same salary, same benefits, to handle the outstanding cases. He was handling outstanding conflict cases, and it felt it would be difficult for a new person to jump in and take over all of those cases, in addition to getting new assignments. As a result of that, the idea was, let's carry them out for 6 months, okay, finish up those cases, look at it again in 6 months, hopefully they'll all be done. Indicated, I don't believe he has any murder cases on the matter, but at least have counsel, some consistency in the representation. And the thought process is, obviously, we have a purchasing director's position that hasn't been filled, and we can at least use those funds to cover this for the 6-month period.
Okay, does the board have any questions? Okay, could I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opportunity for the public to address the board. Members, other business? Anybody have any other business? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Second?
We'll reconvene in this room. at
All in
12
favor?
o'clock.
Aye.
12 o'clock, Commissioners. Any
Sure.
for the public?